What would you say to a couple where one spouse feels unequally yoked because they didn't realize how incredibly important sex was when they got married? In other words, we have different views on the value and importance of sex in our marriage. I have never heard that question. I don't quite understand what that means. Do you think you know what it means?
Well, it sounds like one of them values intimacy and sex more than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't call that unequally yoked. But
it just hit me. This is a woman writing this question.
Well,
she's not realizing that her husband had a higher sex drive than she. Okay, that's funny.
It might not be.
So you think this is a husband writing this, saying he didn't realize his wife would just be climbing all over him all day and night and wanted so much sex, and he doesn't feel like it's an equal yoking.
Like you said, we don't know the context of all these questions.
Okay. Well,
but I think I'm with you.
Yeah.
It probably is, but I don't know that necessarily matters.
So let's do this.
Yeah.
First of all, wrong thinking about something doesn't mean you're unequally yoked. It just means you're ignorant or foolish or uninformed.
Yeah, you need to learn.
Yeah. And so unequally yoked is where in Paul's referencing 1 Corinthians here, the husband, let's say, hates God. The wife loves God. They decide to get married. You're unequally yoked.
Correct.
You have two completely different center of gravities for your life to revolve around.
Correct.
Not having a proper understanding of the central role of sex in marriage isn't being unequally yoked. It's being uninformed. So a helpful definition of marriage that we gave at the conference is marriage is a sexual relationship protected by covenant. It's very helpful to understand.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we think of sex as one of the elements of marriage, when in actuality, according to the Bible, sex is the central element of marriage that makes it unique. It's that which unites a husband and wife together in a oneness relationship that they share with no one else.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we think of sex protecting the covenant, which a la 1 Corinthians 7, you shouldn't be apart very long to come back together to fight off temptation. Sex is war. Sex is spiritual warfare. All that, yes and amen. But I think a better way to say it, a more biblical way to say it, is that covenant protects sex, in that sex is so powerful. And sex is like a nuclear bomb. And if you just set it off anywhere, it can be devastating. You got to set it off in this. Now my analogy is going to break down. How do you contain a nuclear bomb? You can't with covenant. It's like building a fire is the analogy I use. When you build a fire in the big stone hearth, it produces heat and can warm the whole house.
Yeah.
If you just build a fire anywhere in the house, it actually burns the house down. And so sex is the same way. It's so powerful as a gift of God that it needed containment. And that containment is covenant. And when the gift of sex is experienced and contained in covenant, it's like concentrating all of that power to have a remarkable impact on a relationship in a really powerful way. When it's kind of watered down and spread around many people, it loses its potency. And well, I shouldn't say that. It's just as potent, but instead of building it up, it tears down.
Yeah.
And so my thought with these folks would be like, hey, get some good books, read the Bible. We got a bunch of good books here. Real Marriage, Mark and Grace. Let's see, Intended for Pleasure is a really good one. The Counterfeit Climax, Dave and Ashley Willis. This is really good. Real Romance, Mark and Grace Driscoll. Intimate Issues.
This is just for women. Oh man, it's like your mom's all-time favorite.
Yes,
and she thinks every woman should own this book, and I agree. It's
really
awesome.
Good.
It's
21
so good.
questions Christian women ask about sex. She's got 3 categories of questions in here.
Especially if this woman is is not understanding sex for what it actually is. It's a great book for her to read.
Simmering Questions, Part 1. Smoldering Questions, Part 2. Sizzling Hot Questions, Part
awesome.
3.
It's written by 2 women. They're awesome. They're great insights.
Yeah. So no, you're not unequally yoked if you have different ideas about the role of sex in marriage. You might be uninformed, and so you need to get on the same page by reading some good books together, going to some good conferences together, and having the Bible informed. So here's the thing. She says, in other words, I'm assuming.
They said, the person.
Whoever wrote this question, in other words, we have different views on the value and importance of sex in our marriage. What I would say to them is the goal here isn't for one or the other to cross sides to the other's view of sex. The goal is for both of you to get a biblical view of sex.
There you go.
this isn't one or the other taking sides. Well, okay, you should take my side and how I view sex, or I should take your side, how you view sex. No. We need to both submit our previous thoughts and assumptions to what God says about sex, because that's what's true. And that's what's reality. And once we submit to God's view of sex, boy, things get awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great response.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good.
Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, you can click here to listen to the full podcast, or click in the link below and go wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. Hopefully you can find us. And if you'd like some more free resources, you can head to strongermannation.com.